Hey kids, it's me, Johnny Fox, here at Snikt. It's Friday. It's 6 o'clock, and the more observant among you may have noticed, I am not alone. None of us are alone.
Are we ever?
This week, kids, Katrina, Tia, Charles, is a singer, songwriter, acoustic performer, band member, recording artist, astronaut, fashion designer. She's got her own fragrance. um, hello,
Hello.
how are you?
No fashion, no fragrance.
But if you did have your own fragrance, because that's where the money is, what would you call it?
I don't know. Woodlands. It'd have to smell something like something dreadful, so I could have a really fun name for it. I guess. I don't know. I really like
Shit, by very.
by my
Just keep it simple. You could put like an upside down exclamation mark or something for the appropriate place.
I really like on Monsters Inc. where their deodorant's like something. Have you got any stink?
Yeah. We found the level early on. Always good. So, so this is the part of the video where you get some shameless self-promotion. Tell the kids at home who you are and what you do.
Hello. Oh my gosh. Okay, so my name is Katrina, and I mostly write songs and try and get different ways of performing them out in as many ways as I can. So I do the same songs that are going to be on my album, which is going to be out this summer. The same songs with my band as I do solo and as a duo with the guitarist from my band, who also helps me with the arrangements of the music that are far beyond what I can do myself. So when I do stuff solo, it's very different to what it's like with the band. It goes from me plinky plonking on a guitar and sort of crying and emoting at people to being sort of a, I would say we try and go through different genres in the way that we perform as a band, the songs. So it's much more fun for me to do because I get to play about with it. And
So when you're
yeah,
writing the songs, when you're writing, do you hear them as a band or?
yeah, and no, and both, and sometimes none. When I'm writing a song, I quite often it's so most of my songs are all lyric driven, so it's always because of the words that are coming to me to write the song, and it can be based on a word or something I've overheard or something I'm thinking or something I've seen, and it might not even bear any relevance to any of those things when it comes out in the song. Um, a lot of the time I've got a melody in my head for the words. And sometimes I've got music in my head, and sometimes I haven't got either of those things, and I'll play with my guitar afterwards. And sometimes I'll be playing with my guitar and I'll like a sound that I'm making and I'll sing some words to it, and then that'll become the song. So it really does depend on what the song is. But a lot of them, especially the one that I've just released, War, that one needed to be a band song. It was in my head and I could never ever make it sound the way that I thought it should, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
It had to, and I was very lucky to find the right people that could do that. So I was very, very happy with how it ended up being.
That's the soon to be hit single War. No, War, not a cover version. War, original single by Katrina Tia Charles. It's everywhere. Wherever you get music, it'll be there. You've just got to look for it, as you're all gonna, after you've all followed all the socials and everything after this, because you will, because how cool is that? So,
I've got a picture
been
as
doing this a
well of all
while,
the
yeah?
places. Um,
So you've been doing this for a while?
um,
Oh,
I started to. So I've always written. Um, I started to. I lost my voice due to pneumonia about a year or so before the lockdown.
I was going to say,
Um,
did you look behind the sofa?
And I looked everywhere, honestly. And I genuinely did not know that I sang every day until I couldn't anymore. And I honestly, I felt like I lost my natural mind, honestly. I didn't have an outlet.
Yeah.
So I always had writing, but there's definitely something in not being able to sing along to the radio and enjoy what it feels like, or it hurt me to sing along or to talk, and I
Yeah.
don't like this for about a year.
Oh,
Yeah. So I ended up picking a guitar up and tried to teach myself a few chords. And I had adamantly not been able to do this for a long time. So my brothers all like play guitar, and cousins and lots of our friends. And
everybody plays guitar.
everyone. And I used to
Everybody.
be at jams with them, and I wouldn't sing along because I would worry about ruining it, because I didn't really think that I would be able to sing and people would be okay with it. And I'd strum a fake guitar, and my sister-in-law would always put one in my hand, and they were always telling me I should learn guitar, and I'd be like, listen, some people can learn guitar and some people can't learn guitar, and I'm that second one. And I ended up trying to learn a few chords, and I learned a few chords and started to sort of play along to a recording of a song in my ear to sort of get the feel of it, and it felt really nice. And then my voice had started to come back, so I started singing along. And the first time that I put some chords together and played a song and sang the song, it was the best feeling I'd ever felt up until that point.
Yeah.
I'd never felt like that before. I was like, wow, oh, it felt like a home feeling. It was very good, really good, in fact. And at that time in my life, I hadn't been outdoors very much. I was going through sort of the winter of my life at that time, and it'd been such a dreadful time that I'd not been out and about and seeing people, and I felt very alone in my head. And I went to an open mic, and I saw people that I'd not seen for a while, and they're all picking me up and hugging me and happy to see me. And I was like, oh, people like me. I forgot about it. And you take yourself into a pit, and things like that really do pull you out of it. And
Yeah.
I played my first open mic. I didn't mean to or want to, actually. My friend told the guy that I'd learned a song, and he came and put a guitar on me and went, come on then, Katrina.
Bastard. But God bless them.
Yeah, he was just like, come on, Katrina, and put a guitar on me. And I was shaking, I was trembling, I was sweating, I could feel my arms, honestly, were wet. I was really nervous. And I played It Must Have Been Love by Roxette. And strum, sing, strum, sing, strum, sing. And everyone was so nice about it. Sort of people were put videos up of it, and people messaging me saying, oh, can I come play guitar for you, can you come and sing with us? And I was like, are you sure? Like, I don't know. And went to another open mic a few days later in Sheffield. So the first one was at the Courtyard in Swinton. And that was always a really good open mic. They had like a drum set, and they could accommodate a full band, which really good. And we went to one in Sheffield at the Rising Sun Inn. Steve Dalton was running it. He runs quite a lot of good. Not Steve Dalton, it was Steve Delaney that was running that one. Steve Dalton runs the open mic in Barnsley at Spiral City. Plug. But yes, Steve Delaney was running the open mic at the Rising Sun Inn, and I played a song there, and he was really nice about it. He was like, can you come to my open mic tomorrow? At the Porter Cottage in Sheffield, which was more of a blues open mic. And I went along to it, and I felt really weird walking in with my guitar because I couldn't play any songs very well. And I'd not done any, I wasn't a musician. So I'm walking in with a guitar on my back, and it felt like I was saying, oh, look, I can do this. I'm good. Watch me. And it was it wasn't like that at all. So played a couple of songs there, and that got videoed and put on YouTube. Somebody sent it to me, and they were like, oh, this is really good. And there was a point in that one where I really used to struggle doing a particular chord. And at that point in that song, I struggled doing that chord, and then I did it again, and the whole crowd was singing the next line with me in a really encouraging way. And it really does speak for the entire experience I had from that point forward with being doing anything with music. I went home and I felt good, and that was part of propelling me away from the sort of the winter time. And I came into Barnsley during the lockdown and moved back home. I came for a walk actually in Barnsley during the lockdown, and I felt home for the first time in my life. I didn't feel at home when I moved away from Barnsley when I was a teenager. You know, I'm moving away from town and I'm not coming back, and that
Yeah.
sort of thing. And then I came back and I was like, oh, this feels nice. And I was at home in Barnsley, and I moved back here 2 weeks later. And then the lockdown ended, and I started to involve myself in things and get jobs in local pubs, and sort of somehow ended up running like open mics and doing open mics, and started to get involved in getting bookings for doing free gigs and doing voluntary things and doing secret gigs. And I ended up meeting just the best bunch of people that I could have possibly met, and that's just continued since then. So that's been for the last couple of years. A couple of years ago I started working at Spiral City in Barnsley, and I ended up meeting like sort of even more of the best people I've ever met in my life. The arcade's such a vibrant place. There's always it's not just creatives, but there's always like sort of artists and writers and tattooists and poets and singers and dancers and guitarists and different musicians of all sorts. And then there's people just starting up different things within the community that are just trying to make everything better for everyone. And it's been a wicked ride. It's been a good experience. I used to be a recruitment manager. I was very corporate, and I was doing
Yeah, that's
things.
it's a big part of it's what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do here. I also need to get out more, which is great from the guy sat in the spare room talking to the woman miles away um, via technology. Because the original plan, I did want to get out. I wanted to meet people and talk, get a coffee, whatever, and film it. And then, but for all the creativity and all the like the game face, the stage persona or whatever that people put on, then as I'm contacting, I'm reaching out to people. Some people are like, yeah, cool, great. When? Today? No. Give me a
Yeah,
chance. And other people are just like, nope. Like it's a real easy no. And it's like, why? You're awesome. And like you don't seem shy, whatever it is that they do, whatever medium
yeah,
their art form may be, whatever their self-expression may be. When they're doing that, I guess they have a sort of a confidence with that because they know what they're
yeah.
doing. And then something as simple as just talking to the little hairy guy is somehow that's like out of their depth,
It's
and it
going
seems
out, and it,
bizarre, but I'm starting to understand it. And also, it's out of my comfort zone.
yeah,
We haven't met, and it's not something that I'm all that good at doing. But I wanted to get better, and I wanted to meet people. I wanted to meet some of these beautiful, brilliant, creative people, because much like you were saying, when in my past life, pretending I was a musician, playing in bands, like you say, you walk in with the guitar case, and people just assume you are, and I'm not going to tell them otherwise. I'll see if they stick around, and then they'll find out.
Oh, I do the
um,
opposite. I'm always like, oh, I'm not a real musician.
yeah. So I met some of the greatest people, and I have some, the stories, tales from the road, if you will, or whatever. That if you're not involved sort of in the arts in some way, you don't get these stories. Even on a very grassroots amateur level, it's amazing the crazy shit that can go down on a Friday night, as and you're probably going to find out in a few hours.
Yeah, it's going to
It,
be good.
it's really great, but it's also really easy to meet. I've met some of the worst, by far the worst people I've ever met. The most selfish, pretentious, conceited. You know, all the people, the rock stars that aren't any better than you. They haven't been doing it any longer than you. we're playing the same venue on the same night, on the same stage, so we're at the same level. I'm on at 8:30 and you're on at 9, and somehow you think that makes you better than me. Oh, fuck off. Those people.
I had one experience.
Not a great lot of time for those people, but thankfully there's probably more. there's more Katrinas than there is those other people who shall remain nameless.
I thought we were getting a name there.
Until I'll if it's when this takes off and Netflix are on the phone with a big bag of cash for me to do an hour special and shit, then I'll write the autobiography and then I'll name names. But they probably know they are. The ironic thing is that they probably know who I am and follow shit like this as well. Anyway, back to you. Kids, if you just joined us, this is Katrina Tia Charles, singer, songwriter, performer, human being, citizen of Earth.
I'm definitely a human being.
Yes, because, and she can prove that because she can name all the pictures that have a lamppost.
Name every human.
So that's 3 names. That's just greedy.
Well, I can name every woman. Whitney Houston.
It's the big-headed singers for you. You and John Bon Jovi just taking all the names, having all the voice, being in a band and still naming it after yourself instead of coming up with a band name.
Right. Actually, that wasn't me. That was initially under duress because I wanted to be in a cool band and have a cool band name and have a band. But quite early on when we started to do the music, my band, the band that they're doing the songs with me, and my band that I play with now, which is mostly the same people. We sort of talked about it, and I kept wanting band names and getting people to suggest band names, but because it's my music and because I will be doing it in different projects as well, in different things, sort of, I have to go, we are Katrina Tia Charles. I was like, but I always end up saying, I don't know, because I don't know, it's a different level of narcissist, and I've not quite beat the final boss yet, do you know what I mean? So I just need to, but I get there, and now it makes sense, and I do get it. I do think it does make sense, but sometimes I just wanted to be like in the butterflies. So the problem with the band name is there's too many band names.
There's too many band names, and they're all terrible.
Oh, they're all the best. Everything's a band name.
They're all the best, but they're all terrible. Every band name is like whatever genre of music you might be. I know you span multiple, but every band name you come up with, every band name is somewhat cliche, which makes it cheesy and awful, and it's only cool because the band is actually cool. When you're actually a good, entertaining band, then all of a sudden the name becomes cool. I mean, dyslexically spelt Def Leppard is a horrible, ridiculous band name, but it's cool now.
I always say coolness is in the cynicism of the beholder.
There you go. That's a future title right there.
Band name.
Because, you know that REM once kicked around being called cans of piss.
Being cans of piss.
Cans of piss.
Cans of
piss. Imagine that. World would be a different place.
I feel like it would. I feel like it would make a difference.
Slightly less radio friendly. And that was losing my religion by cans of beep. It would have been kind of odd to hear like 5 times a day, every hour.
When I first started doing music in that sort of time, I started doing it with another person and then another few people, and I started a band called Lucid Butterfly. But It was because my auntie had said to someone at the time, I was just flitting around, and she was like, "Oh, she's like a lucid butterfly, isn't she?" And they mentioned it when we were looking for a band name. And I really didn't want to let that band name go. I struggled to let that go.
Yeah.
Even when, I experienced sort of like finding a bassist was really hard, and we kept on having a different one. And then I ended up with like a revolving sort of band setup to start off with. But I was just starting out. We were all just starting out, and it was fun. But I didn't want to let go of the name. I really liked the name. And everything I had to do, I love butterflies. I love anything to do with like metamorphosis. I love science. I love nature. I like butterflies pretty. Right. So there were loads of symbology, and I always like posted stuff to do with butterflies. And when people see butterflies, they'll tag me in it, or they'll send it to me in rainbows and stuff.
That's great.
And I felt like I should really keep the band name anyway, because it's a good association to have, because it's quite a regular symbol, a butterfly. So it's good to have that in sort of the forefront of people's minds when they think about your music, if it's such a regular symbol. I thought, oh, that's great. And I've ended up letting go of the name, and then all of a sudden everybody's sort of saying, "Oh, have you got butterflies all over your album?" And there's nothing. There's no butterflies.
Yeah,
and
but
I've not done that deliberately. There's none, and it really is what everyone keeps expecting me to have on. But
but when you've gone global, you can do that thing where you'd be signing into hotel rooms as Lucid Butterfly. You can do the not so secret shows and warming up for the album tour under the name Lucid Butterfly. So people don't know it's you, even though everybody knows it's you.
Yeah. It's just
So you get some use out of it.
The thing is, when you've got a band, you can't use an old band name, because it's like it's trying to get someone to wear someone else's old jumper, isn't it? But then again, I mean, I like to buy a charity shop jumper, so I don't know. It's who you are.
So no doubt, way too many. But if it's at all possible to narrow it down and throw me two or three of your favorite influences, your favorite bands or artists.
I really struggle with this one, but I'm going to try, because I expected something along these lines. So I'll have musical influences really are always people like Carole King and Karen Carpenter and Etta James and Ella Fitzgerald and Amy Winehouse. Songwriters that like writing a story, like Guy Garvey, or I only was a couple of years ago introduced to that sort of songwriting. Bob Dylan, Jimi Hendrix. Just I don't think there's a musician that couldn't be an influencing musician, even if it's somebody that's just trying out a song in the street. It's an influence. It really is. I'm trying not to skate past that question, because I know it's so shit not to answer that question and be like,
I like all really music. Shit question.
I like all music, but it's an important question, because some people do have an answer to it, and it's relevant. But my problem is everything really does influence me, like everything. My album's called Regent, and there's a song on it called Regent. And I was watching a Vampire Diaries spin-off called The Originals, and a girl was made Regent of the Witches, and I was like, oh, Regent, that's a nice word. And I wrote a song called Regent. In no way would you listen to that song and think, oh, she wrote that because she was watching Vampire Diaries. Like it's sometimes just a word, and sometimes it's like a conversation. I heard a girl once talking on the bus about this guy that liked her, so she was she was like, oh, I know he likes me and I like him too much now, so I'm gonna have to end it. So I wrote a whole song about it, as if I was singing that song to someone, because it immediately made a song. Everything makes a song straight away. Like
that's what's absolutely crazy. That's what inspires me. Where the people, the creatives out there, the dreamers, I like to think I'm that way on, but like I said, my musical days are done. I swear I'm done. I keep saying this, and people keep trying to drag me back in with something, but I'm pretty much done. But whatever the artistic medium, and as I've started doing this, talk to different people, musicians, whether it's an instrumentalist, whether it's a vocalist, uh, photographers, cartoonists, whatever it might be, that we do that. When we're not, when we're not killing each other and shit. you know, human beings are pretty fucking cool, and how that inspiration strikes people, where it comes from, and you can't explain it yourself. It's just a thing. It happens, and you take it and you can shape it, and you have to, or you'll explode or go nuts or something. It just has to be done, and it's beautiful. And another thing I wanted to do with these live chats is we need that, I think, more than ever. I'm going to get overly political or preachy, but the world's gone to shit. Well, it's well on its way. So any time we can pull it back with a bit of human contact and a smile and a laugh or something, without burying his head in the sand, without being frivolous about the really important stuff that's happening. Entertainment, art is as important as it's ever been, I think.
It's as political
we need that too.
As well. I think entertainment and art are as political as anything is always. They're just another part. They're another dictionary. A dictionary, people sometimes think a dictionary is a guide on what you're supposed to say, but it's not. It's a log of what people were saying at the time. And music and art is just as much, if not more, of a log of what's happening in politics than what politics are logging, because they aren't logging it in the way they're keeping their histories as they want to. I believe.
As is the way.
But that brings me to a great plug moment, because this is sort of what my song War. The whole idea of we'd all be magical artists or fairy nymphs if we didn't have the rent to pay, if everyone didn't have to constantly be focusing on everything costing so much. So we know we're going to have to pay specific amounts of money out, and we're going to have to earn sort of being able to pay for. I like Wi-Fi and hot water, so I'm a realist, and I know that I have to. I don't want to be in sort of the depths of society and have a day job and do things because I've got to do them. But I know that to a certain degree I've got to. But do we need to be doing it as much as we are? Like, we all know that's not. We all know no. We don't need to be doing it as much as we are in the way that we are. And all the science fiction writers have always got it right. And I think the thing is, like Arthur C. Clarke wrote this series. I'm starting nerding out now. I probably shouldn't do that.
Go for it.
There's this series. It's called, the first book's called Rendezvous with Rama, and it's like a novella that's off on its own. And then the next three books are about this, about what happens further down the line, and it's about this spacefaring sort of. Where in the future, we're all sort of spacefaring, and something appears, and people get to go and live on it, and it's sort of just those people on this spaceship. And then later on down the line, sort of like so much time later, people are more spacefaring, and people get invited to go and live on the place, and without sort of work having to be there, because there's all these like robots that do everything for everyone. And there was still some sort of echelons of society that were trying to create sort of a need for people to have more than each other, or people to be the people in charge of each other, or people to be the holder of something. And there is an inevitability to it, but there's also the possibility of the other happening, described in books like that. And I've gone a bit too far into the whole sci-fi book, but all the sci-fi authors have always got it right. And I was saying this in the lockdown, the book nerds are not surprised by any of this. We've read it like so much. Ben Elton wrote one called Blind Faith. That was quite good as well.
I've said this a few times now. Well, there's the current on-trend thing. Well, we'll get the video trending, because I'll mention the AI. Oh, I said it. Scary. Doesn't scare me. It can have my fucking job, right? I work in a factory. I said this on one of the other episodes. I don't know why, like, any human being is messing around, lifting heavy things repetitively, you know, to earn a living. We have these big brains, we can create technology, we have the technology, and then we don't use it because we need the control and the taxes. AI can have the job. It can have the job because I just want to concentrate on philosophy and art and just
Being kind
walk the earth.
to each other
Yeah,
rather than
absolutely.
trying to get something out of each other.
Yeah, instead of
It's,
like hoping that my battery lasts long enough on this, I can just walk the earth like David Carradine in Kung Fu and meet people for real and just have these conversations, and the world's a better place for it.
it,
But that's
I think we've got to find the right blend. I think that thinking that we need to do away, I think that people assume when you talk about this sort of thing that you want to do away with society altogether, and that you don't believe that there's anything good comes from a good honest day's work. But it's not about that.
oh
It's
no, no.
about what constitutes a good honest day's work. When I was doing my corporate job before, I actually remember, I really do remember a day just thinking, what am I doing that's good for the world? Like, and I was I was earning bank, but it didn't make me feel good. I No, it made me feel dreadful. Actually, I much prefer having an enjoyment in what I'm doing. So I do a couple of different things, and I do gardening. I do a job where I speak on. So I do a customer service related job that I've just started recently. But I'm speaking with people who are in a vulnerable situation and need support and kindness and patience. And I really love doing that. I really do. It's like my favorite thing to do. And I get to do that as my job that I have to do to fulfill that part of my societal role. So that's cool for me at the moment. I wish that job didn't have such a need, though.
Yeah.
But that's 10 other video calls. But the thing about we would all do much more beautiful things if we didn't have that sort of pressure in that way, being such a nasty pressure. It could be a nicer pressure. That's
Yeah.
all I feel like, and I do feel like it's possible. I feel
Yeah.
like authors and fiction authors being able to detail it in a way that makes sense. And people might say, oh, but it's fiction. But like everything, Arthur C. Clarke, a slingshot technique was actually devised because of something he wrote
Yeah.
in fiction.
As the saying goes, the best science fiction is simply precursor to science fact.
Well, we all walk around doing Star Wars, Star Trek stuff now.
We really do. We
I said
really
Star Wars
do.
and then Star Trek.
So,
I'm going to get killed.
what? Once again, for any newcomers, this, boys and girls, is Katrina Tia Charles, singer, sort of guitar player, with that fantastic band you've probably heard of, Katrina Tia Charles. You can find them wherever you find your music. There's a new single called War out now, and it's just a little bit brilliant. It really is. So,
Hopefully,
after the lane question, which we kind of got sidetracked from, I'm going to try something a bit more interesting and see if this will get you. Now, I don't agree with the phrase a guilty pleasure. I'm not ashamed or embarrassed about anything. I like what I like. You like it too, or you don't. I don't care. We can still be friends, right? If it's especially when it's only entertainment. There's no reason we should, have any issues just because I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift fan in the world. Um, Heaven forbid, I'm going to get struck down. I think is that no? Okay. Um, but that's the thing that Slipknot should definitely do. They should just slightly remaster all their old albums and re-release them with just Taylor's version in brackets, because they can do that, and that's where the money is. I've learned that much over the last year or so. But anyway, so I don't really do guilty pleasures. I love Björk, right? I think
Bjork's
she's
amazing.
fucking phenomenal. But people don't look at me and expect me to say that. So I want to try and out you. Is there anything Is there anything that you think people might be a little bit surprised by? A particular artist that you like?
I don't
I'm
know
sure
because
people know that you're very eclectic, but is there anything you could pull out the bag that might make people go, really?
um, that's not already made. I don't know because I mean my friends will just as I'll dance to Stop Right Now by the Spice Girls and then War Pigs. It really I don't know if anything that I would consider a guilty pleasure or anything
Oh
that would
no.
surprise anyone. I so okay, I am a feminist, but I like gangster rap, which is not feminist at all to like. It's not. So I suppose when I say a guilty pleasure, it's not because I'm ashamed of the pleasure. It's like I shouldn't really dig this, but it's I like I
But it's the rhythms, the patterns, it's the
it's
artist in
also
you
the
that
way that
understands the
the pro
process and the feel.
the prosody of the way that the words are said. I love
Yeah.
words. I am obsessed with words. Words are my best friends and always have been, and they've been my absolute escape from everything. And also the way that I find everything and I learn everything and I know more things. And the way that different types of music or speaking or poetry or even just the way that someone's delivering a speech, the way that those patterns fall with the words and the way that the words when people say words to me, I know a lot of people see pictures. I see the shape of the words, the letters. It's pretty to me, and I like balancing letters and sentences and different types of rhyming patterns and things. So I class myself as someone without any structure, but really I have actually I write in verse with sort of structure. So I'm not as sort of loosey goosey as I like to think I am because I like a lot of structure.
Yeah.
But words themselves can be both sort of flowing with no structure whilst being the most rigid things in the world all at the same time, and I love that. I really do.
Do you ever find you listen to a song like the first time you've ever heard a song, and you kind of you just from having such an awareness of words, from writing your own, from just listening to an obscene amount of stuff of all different styles. I know I've done this. You've never heard the song before, and you know the next line because you
Yeah,
sort of predict just because you get
you're
like the
on the
rhyming couplet
feeling for it. Yeah,
is
and you
most
kind of it's that.
likely they're gonna the context,
Yeah, and you
and
feel like I
hits
wish
that
I
one
wrote this
line.
song. I should have written this song. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've had that a few times. It's sometimes it can it can be because you really relate to the song. I think once or twice it's been because it's been sort of it's just made sense for that next line to come. But I think when I do feel like it's more of a, it's not like oh this is predictable, but it's more of a oh I wish I wrote this song. I should have written this. There's a couple actually where I've felt like that. Sort of oh my goodness, and because I do write a lot of songs and I'm constantly writing songs, I don't get it that often. So when I do, it's a really nice feeling because I'm like, oh, I'm jealous. You wrote that first. It's like, to be honest, and these people are great at what they do and they're in a really high sort of positions in what they do. And I'm just like Katrina from Barnsley. And I'm like, oh, you wrote that first as if we're like peers. But I've always felt like that when people have written things or like when I was even like growing up, I've always been like, oh, no, I could have written that. Not in a, and not even in an arrogant way, just like sort of comfortable with enjoying
yeah,
playing with words, sort of thing. I just really like words; they're great in any form.
yeah, I do. So
Such
I
a
mean,
word nerd.
I'm a big fan of lyrics and storytellers. I mean, all art is storytelling. All art is self-expression. Your voice in some form or other. Uh, Usually fairly autobiographical as well, even if that's on the subconscious level. Um, so I really like lyrics, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it's entertainment. You want to get feet tapping, heads nodding, because there's an awful lot of music out there that's perfectly good music and it makes a whole heap of coin. Not quite my thing, doesn't quite speak to me if the lyrical content is you know, the skies are blue and I love you, the birds are singing and winging, and
I like a bit of
that
that
doesn't quite,
though.
you know, that's not going to quite get me. I know a lot of people don't like to mix politics too heavy with their entertainment or whatever, but it doesn't have to be politics. Just again, just self-expression, just life experience, just social
Which
commentary.
are all
Um,
politics.
yeah, which is all politics because everything's politics. But hell, you can certainly do that in an entertaining way and not lose the. And certainly you can perform it, and you can jump around, and you can have your silly haircuts and your fantastic outfits, and you know you can butterfly around the stage, and people just get swept away with that and just dance, and they don't really in that moment have a clue or care
Yeah.
what you're saying and what the lyrics about. Hopefully they go home and they listen to it, and in a quieter moment it starts
It's funny
to
you
sink
say that.
in.
It's funny you say that because I took a song to the band the other day. I took 4 new songs to the band, and I'm going to talk about the band a bit more in a minute. Well,
What band's that? Is
both
that the
elements.
band Katrina to
The
your
Katrina
Charles?
Charles.
What a great name for a
It's
band.
great, isn't it? But yeah, I took 4 songs to them the other day, and one of them, I was saying to someone, I want this. I said, you know, there's so many bangers, right? There's some serious bangers that you've listened to for years, and then when one day you're in your 30s and you listen to it and you're like, someone wrote this with a guitar once, and you think about playing it acoustically, and it's a beautiful song when it's a banger, but oh my God, someone wrote this song. This is a beautiful song, and I said to them, I want to create a song that it's just a song you dance to. You don't really think about the words, but then when you think about the words afterwards, they do mean something. But I want it to be afterwards.
Yeah.
So I gave them one the other day that I wanted to have that feeling for, because my songs are so lyric driven. But I like to experiment with I don't just want to experiment with the way with the lyrics. It's with the way the songs are performed and the way that the stories are told. The songs, when I do them acoustically, it's a bit more of a story and it's a bit more sort of weepy love but when it's with the band, there's a different dynamic to it. So when we recorded the album, I first I had a guitar teacher. I decided to start getting guitar lessons, and I had a guitar teacher, Bill White from Barnsley, great guitar teacher, but actually he is now becoming a music teacher. But he helped me to put the songs that are just a few chords when I write them into layered music that was intricately sort of put together in a web weaving way that I could never ever, but in a really, really beautiful way. And then we got together with Tom Dobson and Mark Boldy, Tom Dobson on bass and Mark Boldy on drums, and recorded my album. And then so Tom got promoted to this super busy job, so and he's in a couple of bands. So we have now got a new bassist called Alex Tinkler, and we're still playing the songs from the album, but there's more songs being added to it now. And the development of the songs as a band, it's always much more of a vibey feeling for me, because they're creating, sometimes when you asked earlier on, you know, can you hear the band in your head? When you can hear the band in your head and you can't bring it out, it's a very frustrating feeling when I'm just sat with my guitar and my, you know, much more basic skills than the musicians in my band that I'm very lucky to work with. So putting them together, sort of like, that inspires me to be like, oh, I want to try this way. Oh, I want to do a song in that style.
Yeah.
Oh, well, can we do one in that style? Oh, well, can you make this more like, you know, and it really does make you think, well, now I want an elevator song. I want a song that people are just going to drift off to and not even listen to.
Yeah.
I want to be background music. Oh, I want this song to make people think like the Baz Luhrmann sunscreen song. Do you know what I mean?
So it's the like jamming on one of your songs in the band context. Has
So
that kind of changed your vocal approach to any
yeah,
of them sometimes?
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and recording songs has as well. So I've recorded my album at DC Studios in Barnsley with Jack Helliwell, and Bill will be there with me as well on a lot of the sort of vocal recordings. But those guys like sort of they they annoyed me, and they'd be like, well, no, Katrina, do this, no, Katrina, try harder. And I'd be like, I don't want to try harder, this is what I sound like. And then I tried harder, and I preferred what came out.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I am quite an assertive person in a lot of ways, and I'm very, this is what I want it to be like, and I want it to be natural, and I don't really want to be trying to sound like anything different to what I am. But that's not what they were trying to get me to do. They were trying to get me to do the best that I could do, and it's definitely made me do everything differently. Like, so live performances, solo performances I do differently based on how I perform with the band. I do the band stuff differently based on because of recording.
Yeah.
Every time I do anything different with anybody, it makes what I'm doing different, definitely. And I'm feeling more confident with what I do because of it, I think.
Yeah, I imagine.
I've always been a very nervous performer, and I'm getting a bit less of a state on gig day now, so it's good.
And it's a constant learning curve, and it never stops.
No.
And you never stop learning. You never stop getting better. Well, you can stop. You can choose to stop. I've chosen to
If you
stop.
start learning, you start getting better.
But
I reckon.
if you keep doing it, you keep getting better. Definitely.
And I've got a long way to go to like. So, but it's all enjoyable. Like, there's nothing not fun about it. And that's the beauty. Like, even the stuff I don't enjoy at the time, like, but my apologies are always louder than my whinges. So, I'll moan at the two of them in the studio, and then there'll be a huge Facebook post, sort of, I really didn't think. Thank you to these guys. So, I really do. I do value everybody that I get to do anything with. I've been really lucky with the artwork for the album. So I've got so far 2 local artists that have allowed me to use artwork for my album. So the single War You've Seen, that's by John Ledger, and that's called The Tide of Society. That's actually a previous work of his. And when I saw that, I finished War, because it was that picture. It really just embodied what I was saying in the song. So that's amazing that I got to use that. And then Chris Collier, another local artist, has done the album cover, which hasn't been revealed yet, but I'm very excited to reveal it. Again, nothing but a flash. But I'm really lucky to know people that are my favorite artists and my favorite singers and my favorite musicians and my favorite actors and my favorite writers. A lot of the people that I know are my favorites of stuff, and I think it's because I know them, probably. But it's like I meet people from loads of different walks of life, and I just find so much from them. It's like Dolly Parton. I keep quoting people. This is going to be like Dolly Parton said, "If somebody can't find their smile, you should give them one of yours."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And people sort of always say to me, "Oh, Katrina, you've got like such energy," and I'm sort of, and they're happy to see me, but them being happy to see me gives me such energy.
Exactly.
And so I'm kind of feeding my own. It's definitely a selfish thing, People might not like Dawkins, but we do definitely do things for our own reasons a lot of the time. So, like, when I say the selfish thing, I sort of mean if I'm enjoying somebody's company and then they're vibing and then I'm vibing, we're just constantly feeding each other. And I think that you can do that in a room full of people whose stuff you like. Like a lot of the people that do music and art and stuff that I've sort of spend time with, a lot of them are really political, and some of them are not political at all. And some people do sort of art and music that is sort of purely aesthetic and purely just for a really enjoyable sound, and some people do it that is for the depth and the substance of what they're trying to get across. Some of them do a blend of the two. Some of them don't get each other, and some of them love each other. But I get to see all of it. And I feel very lucky every day.
Yes. And they should all come and be down here, because this is so much fun. Again, selfishly for me, It's so much fun selfishly for me, but I'm really here, frankly, to pimp you out and everybody else that I've had on here. It's all about the guest. It's all about the artist. I'm not trying to get a ton of likes and followers for me. I want everybody to go like Katrina Tia Charles,
Love me.
lead singer of the band Katrina Tia Charles.
That doesn't make it sound cool, you know, when you say it like
It's repetition, repetition, repetition. It's
Katrina Tia Charles. I've got a song out called War. I've got an album coming out in the summer called Regent. My next single will be out on the 30th of April, Witch's Night. It's called Light It Up. Witch's Night is the night to light it up, 30th of April. Go look that up.
and so let's go. Let's dig a little deeper in a fun, quick, and simple way. More about Katrina than the band. We're just going to play a little bit of this or that. I'm just going to throw two things at you. Pick one. Oh, seriously, you've got nothing to lose because God knows you've got nothing to win because I can't afford prizes. I don't get paid for this shit. So
I'm terrible at choosing things. I want everything.
I start getting sponsored by Colgate or the Pantene or something, and then I can start giving prizes away. Till then, it's just for fun. So no right or wrong answers. Keep it simple. For example, would you start with cats or dogs?
If I choose one, then one of the others going to be upset with me.
Oh God, no. Right, okay. Look, this is the internet, so disclaimer: Katrina liking cats does not mean that she hates dogs.
I love cats and I love dogs.
Don't get all up in the comments and all over social media that Katrina Tia Charles, dog hater. I saw her kicking a dog once just because she picked cats, or the other way around, or whatever.
I can't.
That's not what it means. The things aren't mutually exclusive. She can like both.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of fun.
I couldn't pick between cats and dogs, but I would say that I could fit more cats in a house than dogs. But dog treats are bigger than cats' treats. But cats' treats are danglier. I don't know. Oh.
Okay.
Next.
Beer or wine?
Neither. If I was going to choose one, I would probably say beer. Yeah. I like the smell of it.
Okay.
I love the smell of IPAs. I miss because I used to.
See, now we know what your fragrance smells like. It's not going to smell like woodland creatures.
It's not going to be IPAs.
But okay, pizza or kebab?
Ooh, kebab.
The tough questions. I only ask the tough questions here.
I said kebab, but then thought pizza. Pizza, actually, quite
Kebab on pizza. Problem solved. Okay. Probably already know the answer to this one, but it's just fantasy. Money's no object. Don't think too much about it. City living or country retreat?
Country.
Yeah. See, everybody picks that to the point where if we could all do that, the country becomes the city, which kind of destroys the point, but hey,
yeah,
whatever.
It proves a lot of points as well, though.
Okay, so the big one, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Trek.
Oh. I've had a bit of both. I've had a bit of both since I've been doing this.
I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars. And do you know what? Like when I was a kid, I had all the Ewok like side films and teddies and stuff. But I can actually choose, so that says something. Star Trek.
Oh, okay. Okay, you see, there's a lot of talk, and rightly so these days. We're going to be on trend again with like getting better representation. Certainly in movies, in music, and
Star Trek were way ahead of the time with that.
And I do not disagree. We need more female roles. We need more people of color. We need more. totally agree with it. However, when you're a short, hairy guy, people get when people of a certain ilk got to see Black Panther on the big screen, and they could have their kind of like, oh, that's me moment and things, and it makes $1 billion, and that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. You know, Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hardy, not exactly representing me.
There's long hair and beard.
Who have I? Not short, pudgy, hairy guys. I've got pretty much. I think the Ewoks are probably the closest thing that represents me when I'm watching movies, by all accounts. And they fucking eat people.
You look more like a wizard than an Ewok.
You can't tell how short I am in this.
Wizards don't have to be giants.
I know. So anyway, let's try this one. Marvel or DC, or don't care.
Wait, I should do my mental meanderings out loud, I guess, shouldn't I? So I don't know.
Yeah,
I love DC and I love Marvel.
Everybody likes both.
I like them both for very different reasons. I found the artwork, the DC artwork. I like darker artwork in comics. So DC was always more of the ones that I would buy and keep. Marvel, the stories were more, they're always more fun, they're always more human, and like, well, no, the DC was like the dark side of humanity, especially like with the Gotham people. The fact that the villains were always the people you relate to more was always a bit messed up.
Yeah.
But with Marvel, they're always this sort of like ahead of its time inclusivity stuff going on, like the euphemism for sort of race, like with the mutie go home sort of signs in the X-Men stuff. And I've always loved the X-Men, all the different stories, all the different interpretations of X-Men. Has always been cool. I've always, loved different characters in it and different ways that different writers would interpret comics. And like reading Joss Whedon's version of the X-Men is so different to somebody else's. Do you know what I mean? And things like that. DC wise, I worked in Spiral City, which is the city from Black Hammer, and Dean, the owner, his artwork was all up in Spiral City. So like you see in the real artwork that somebody has put into it, and the sort of the depth, the dark sides of the stories with DC a bit more than I tend to with Marvel, especially now. Marvel's become a bigger bigger version of itself, so it's more TV based now. I haven't really read many Marvel comics for a while, and I bought DC ones recently, so I'd say DC. Took me a while, that, didn't it?
Hey, that's what I'm here for. And that's what all the viewers at home watching Katrina Tia Charles are here for. So find the social medias, like, follows, music everywhere you get your music. New single War out now. Repetition. It's the hook. It's the hook. It's what.
Six bayonets.
Oh. Hey, so you're out tonight? You're out later?
Yes, I'm going to the old Number 7 in Barnsley. So first up, Steve Dalton, who runs the Spiral City open mic nights every other Thursday. And then it's Misery Prize. So my old friend Ryan Bracker, and I don't mean old as he's an old person. It's one of my oldest mates. It's a trio that he's a part of, and they do some serious telling it how it is to some spicy music. So I'm looking forward to that. And then it's Alien Abduction Club, who are absolutely, honestly, one of the. You need to come and see Alien Abduction Club. They are transcending genres in different ways. That's all I'm saying. So it's gonna be good.
So how are you finding what's the live music, post COVID? How are you finding it? Are things picking back up, or is it still a bit weird?
wasn't really part of the live music scene that much before COVID, to be honest with you. I went to a couple of open mics and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
But I love the live music scene post COVID. I mean, I don't do as much over Christmas as everybody else because I do original music, but I think that there's a lot of scope for more venues to be available for sort of bigger events inside small towns.
Yeah.
And that's always great, but the sort of pubs and clubs that are putting bands on every week in, week out, they're the ones that are keeping live music going, sort of thing. They are. There's so many different places that people don't realize. So there'll be a big event in the middle of town, and somebody will sort of say, "Oh, but we need more big events like this. We need more live music." And I'll always say, there's 3 bands a week on a Wednesday at the White Bear. There's definitely at least sort of in different pubs on a Friday and a Saturday and a Sunday. There's always something. There's at least something on a Thursday somewhere. There is live music playing all over the place. So it's definitely getting picked up. But I know that pubs affording to pay out for live music has been a bit of up and down, especially
Yeah.
beer prices and beer taxes and different things like that, and then the rising cost of energy bills. But saying that, the right places actually pay their musicians that they book.
I mean, I'm a big fan of all artists getting paid.
But
I mean, it
I
kind
will
of
do
goes without
I will do
saying,
voluntary stuff sometimes, and I will do stuff just to support somewhere that
but
can't
yeah, this
afford to
was
because I want to.
a big issue for me, especially uh, post COVID. Especially, I mean, a little earlier on, in certainly the early days. I mean, like you said, venues are still struggling now, but the artists that a lot of bands that I saw a lot of bands disband. I saw a lot of bands bitching and whining and complaining because they couldn't get paid what they used to get paid. They're either being offered, less money than they got used to, and things like that. And I'm like, you're an artist. You perform for people. You make people happy. Getting paid is great, but especially when I know, like as we said, unfortunately, I know it's not your job. It's not your career. Unfortunately, I wish it was for you, but it's not. You have a full-time job. You squeeze in being in a band in your spare time. I know you want it to be more than a hobby. I know you take it very seriously, but play for free and entertain the fucking people because we need it. Where's the harm? Short term,
Sometimes.
short term, just to make sure the venue stays open.
Yeah.
To do the because when the
Sometimes we
venue's
can do it.
not
Sometimes, but like
like
it's got to be for the right
yeah
reasons as well, because some places will just get people to. They'll constantly turn people out for exposure coins, and
yeah
if you are going out in your own time, and if you're away from home and you are doing a service for somebody else, regardless, you're doing that. So you're not at home, you're not chilling, you're not knitting, you're not doing whatever you do like to do to chill out. Plus you've got to lug your equipment. Plus you've got to practice, because if you don't, even if you know your song, I wrote my songs, nobody knows what they should sound like, but if I don't practice at least 3 or 4 nights
yeah
in the run up, I don't sound good. And then you've got to stand there, and it's quite exhausting to play for 45 minutes, and you're sweating and you're nervous and people are talking to you,
yeah
and then you have a break, and then you got to do another 45 minutes, and then you've probably got to hang around for a bit, and there might be another band on, so you're going to want to watch them, and then you're speaking to people, and then you have to look all your gear up and go home, and it's after midnight every time, right? So if you've not been paid, but the people that have been in the pub have been buying drinks all night, and the jukebox and the gambling machines have been being played in, and then everyone's getting paid except for the person who stood there sweating all night, it can be a bit of a bit like what? And I've done that. I've sort of done that where not I haven't done like loads and loads of sets for ages not getting paid, but I've done it for very like low prices, and I've done free gigs, and I do free gigs. I've like volunteered in a couple of care homes in December because I felt like my volunteer ledger were in its red. I've not done much at all like in the year because I've been very busy, but and I'll perform for sort of places I like for lower prices maybe sometimes because they are smaller, but I learned very quickly to stop doing stuff for next to note because other people were then having to pay the price of me having done that. So you've got to, if somebody's offering a service and you want that service, you've got to be willing to pay for it. Or like if people offer like less to a musician, ask for less time maybe, or work with them. And if you want something that's for free just to play music to each other and vibe, there's loads of places where we do that as well. And I've got loads of mates that would absolutely agree with you and be like, just play music to the people, which a load of us do. But if it's in a venue where folk are getting paid and you being there benefits that, then this is how we give and take in society.
well, that's I mean, that's exactly it. It's the give and take. It's like kind of the fixed price. It's the the mutual way it works. We're scratching backs here. As the artist you perform, it's like, okay, plenty of people have turned up. Like you said, the beer's flowing, so the money's flowing. So it's like, okay, so you can throw the artist a little extra. Than,
do you know one place?
Because you've got it, instead of just being greedy and taking it all.
One place really cracked it. There's this place it's just a cricket club in Middlecliff, and they've got a jukebox in there that people put money in for music, and that pays for all their musicians. They used to always give me at least 50 quid extra because I didn't charge as much as their people that sang covers, because you can charge a lot more if you perform covers. And
very strange.
Well, there's definitely more of a demand for it. It's just one of those things. I think that if people weren't out there performing those covers, then I wouldn't be able to get away with stuff.
When trying to book gigs, I did the majority of the bookings when I was doing this, and getting told, not being able to get into a venue, not being able to get a gig, because people want to hear what they know. And I mean, I get that.
Yeah,
but every song you've ever heard,
more valuable.
You didn't know it. At some point, you'd never heard it. There was a time when you'd never heard the fucking song, and then you heard it,
and I say that
decided
a lot.
It was your favourite song ever. I'm going to have it played at my wedding and my funeral, and
But it's nice to sing along to stuff.
Our songs, they might be the greatest songs you've ever heard.
I think both of those things. So I like some of my favourite singers and some of my favourite musicians sing mostly covers, but I like their interpretation of it. Sometimes better than the original. I love new music and original music, and I'm trying to constantly say I just want to do my own music. And it was hard at first because people would book me and sort of say, can you do more covers? And I'd be like, not really. And then I'd get there and they'd be like, oh, I thought you'd do more covers. And I'd be like, oh no, I can't really do more covers. And I eventually started getting rebooked for original stuff, and I'm really like every day grateful for that. But I don't not get why there's a need for it, because if I get my songs to be liked in the way that somebody else would want to cover them, then I know it's a good song. So if people didn't do covers, then there'd be no point in music really, because people wouldn't be like, I want to hear that song again. So all those musicians are doing, every musician is doing each other a favour, either by writing songs or by performing them. And that's the beauty of it. It's just the mushroom society of it all, sort of the networking ability of it. If people weren't performing other people's songs, then people's songs would only be performed by them. And it wouldn't be, you might hear a song as somebody plays in a pub a few times and then start listening to it by the original artist. And I've done that a lot, to be honest. So, but sometimes I have found myself very frustrated with venues when they're like, no, people want to hear what they want to hear. And I'm like, so show them something else as well.
There's 7 days a week. There's 24 hours in a day. There's time. There's time for you, and there's time for, I'm not going to name any covers band off the top of my head, but there's time for you and there's time for a Miley Cyrus tribute act. It's not a problem. It
I
can
mean,
be
that'd be
done.
a hard vocal to do a tribute of. She's got an incredible voice.
Does have an incredible voice. Again, not guilty pleasures. It's not right up my street, but she does have an incredible voice. Some of the more kind of 80s
Yeah,
esque vibes that she's had going on some of the tracks, I like that. That hooks me in. So, because
it's
I'm an old miserable
vocally,
guy.
she's
Oh my
just.
god, what's going on? Oh, oh shit in hell! It's I think Godzilla's walking up the street or something. What's happening here? Um, that's weird. Anyway,
But yeah, I don't. I
oh,
like one thing I can say to you is I have started throwing a couple of covers into my sets now because I'm not getting asked to. So
yeah,
there's got to be some kind of pathological demand avoidance involved. But I'm not being asked to do them, so I feel more confident in doing them. The thing about singing
oh,
covers, one of the main reasons I don't do them that much is because I I can't do them as much justice, and I know that
yeah,
myself because I do stuff in. It's easy to sing your own songs because you know how to do it.
yeah,
But if you're singing somebody else's songs, the added pressure of doing that well, it's actually really difficult. So the people that I know that can do that, they can play the guitar well and with really good timing, and they can sing that song and execute it in a way that does it justice, right? Whereas I feel like I'm picking a song apart and just like making it mine and just chilling with it. I don't feel like I'm performing a song as well when I do a cover. Whereas when other people do them, I feel like they get the song, they
yeah,
get the music of the song. Whereas for me, I've got to feel a song to really power it out sometimes. But then I'll find a cover, I'll play it, and I'll be like, oh, and I'll do that for 3 weeks. Do you know what I mean? But it's always been more of a nervous thing. The reason I don't do other people's songs is because people in the crowd will know if you're doing it
yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
And I'm not down for that, so I'll just do my own. I
Well,
don't like that. I don't want people to be like, oh no, that's not what that's supposed to sound like. And I did get that once or twice. I have done a cover before where people are like, oh, it doesn't sound like the original. And I was like, no, it doesn't, does it?
well, no,
Like,
it won't, will it?
but sometimes, but there's, I know, I'm not. It's late enough in the day for me to admit this now because like people know what I'm gonna do, but I know like about 80 or 90 covers. I know a lot of covers, and I can play them quite comfortably in a way where I'd be comfortable doing them at a gig. But I used to just not do because a lot of people sort of said to me when they first started out a lot of things. So I started playing and singing at the same time. And a lot of guitarists said to me, "I'm glad that you did that because I found it hard to do the other."
Yeah,
It hit my playing though, I'll tell you that. Like if I'd have not started singing along, I'd probably be a better guitarist. But then I can't remember what I was on about. Playing and singing at the same time. Singing covers. So like performing one in a way that worked for other people, it's scary. It's very, very scary. And when I started doing my own songs, I also noticed that I weren't trying to sound like something. I just did it.
yeah,
And then going back to trying to do other people's songs, I struggled for a bit because I was like finding that balance. But now I feel a lot more confident in doing it. People don't expect me to do them, so I'm feeling comfortable to play them because I don't think. So that's what I was saying. So when I first started, people said, about the playing and singing at the same time. But another thing that people said to me was, oh, you just need to throw one or two of your own in. You need to do covers. That's how you do it. And I think it does work. And I think that that is right for a lot of people. But I noticed that one or two people that were saying that to me were still doing that. They were still having to do that. And they've been writing their own songs for a long
yeah.
time. I started all doing this quite late on in my life. So I'm like, I really ain't got time to like slip a few of mine in because I write them every day. Like there's too many. There's too many. So I was more or less slipping one cover in if I did. It meant it took longer to get bookings and it took longer to get repeat bookings.
Yeah.
But it meant that when I did finally start getting that, it was for what I wanted to be booked for. because I wasn't really trying to be a singer. I like writing songs, and I like the fact that people don't mind when I sing them to them. I love that. In fact, it's great. Like what?
So,
I can do another one. Nice.
so if we just stop being so fucking humble for 2 minutes, and I'll think of something of pure fantasy. What would be like if you could get I the I like some kind of like an iconic venue you'd really love to play where you'd feel like we've made it because we're playing Madison Square Garden or something, or somewhere you'd like to like have one of your songs involved. Like for me, talking about shooting for the moon, I was always like, if I heard one of my songs in a Tarantino movie, fucking job done,
That'd be
right?
quite cool.
Like, yeah, that would be just the epitome of I say I can retire, I can quit, I can't. Doesn't get much better than that. I'm sorted. So it's anything you'd like.
Couple. So venue wise, two places. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, because when I was not anything to do with music and I saw the plans for that stadium and I saw how it had been put together with acoustics in mind, I wanted to sing in it. And I weren't a singer, I didn't do music, and I wanted to sing in that stadium when I saw that. It's never going to happen because like they had to do some kind of massive big thing because they can only have so many there a year, and then he extended it so they could have Beyonce there as the extra. So I'm never going to play at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but I would love to sing a song in Tottenham. Yeah, that would be great, just because I want to see what those acoustics actually sound like. Somewhere that I want to play for reasons other than the acoustics, there's a place in Soho called Jazz After Dark, where Amy White. It's a little cocktail like place. It's lovely, cute. It's got paintings all around, hand paint, like paintings by Sam, who is the guy who owns it and is an artist, and they're all of Amy Winehouse and pictures of him and Amy, and she used to sing there like a lot. And I went in there, and he came, and I was looking at the arts, and he came over and he said, "Do you like my paintings?" And I ended up sitting and talking to him for a while. And I remember in the lockdown when I first started doing music, I was like, "Would you ever let me sort of do like play some songs there if I ever get sort of to a point?" And they're like, "Yeah, come do a showcase whenever you want." That was in the lockdown. And I've not messaged them back since then, because since then I've know a bit more about sort of what I'm doing. I was like, well, I don't do jazz, and I wonder if it would be jazz that they would want. So I'm gonna message them, but I don't know like sort of what they're doing now at the moment, if they have music on there. But that was a place that I was like, oh, I'd like to play there.
You just if you have any songs where you use a capo, just put it in the wrong fret and then say it's jazz.
Jazz.
No disrespect to jazz. I like a bit of jazz.
Jazz is awesome. I mean, some of my favourite musicians are jazz musicians, definitely. So, in fact, I don't know what my favourite anything is, but I was like looking at my record collection. What's at the top? I think it's Aloe Parks, actually. I was looking
remember? Do you remember by any chance what was the first record you bought, like with your own money, like not a birthday, Christmas present, like you bought?
Puff the Magic Dragon on vinyl. I think I was about 8. Puff the Magic Dragon on vinyl. Had it on tape as well. Great song.
Really? You gonna cover it?
I should actually. I actually should cover that song. That and the Pokemon theme tune are songs that are on my list to cover, to be honest. Great songs. Really great songs. But yeah, Puff the Magic Dragon was the first record I ever bought, I remember.
That was actually supposed to be another this or that. I was supposed to say Pokemon or Dragon Ball, and we got sidetracked.
Dragon Ball.
All right. Yeah.
I mean,
hey. Fantastic. So, kids, this is Katrina Tia Charles.
I don't know what I've said.
It gets saved. We can watch it back. New single War is out now everywhere you get your music. And
It's not in.
Yeah.
What?
more do you want? It's
It's not great
absolutely
artwork.
fantastic. So, as struggle picking favourites, but so you get much time for movie viewing?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's the last thing you watched that was really good that you'd recommend?
The last movie I would watch that I would recommend.
Yeah. Might have
Um,
to go back a while. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. Like, I watched quite a lot of films. The last one that I would recommend. For what reason am I recommending it? Why am I recommending the film? For what reason? What am I recommending it for? Like, just something good to watch.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on the film. You might want to recommend a film because you think it has a message, really important message. It might just be because the art direction is so beautiful. There's a lot of reasons to like a film, right?
So, No Country for Old Men, just because the amazing. I would recommend it's not well, it's not. It's the series of the film that I recommend more, Deadwood.
Oh,
Because I always watch Deadwood for writing inspiration because the language in it is so amazing. It's beautiful. It's like poetry, and there's just some of the back and forths. I'll just be like, and I'll rewatch it because it's just it's just really articulately written and beautiful and really great. Yeah, so I recommend that. No Country for Old Men were quite good. What else did I enjoy watching? I can't think of anything because you've asked me the question.
yeah.
I haven't watched any of the big films recently. I've not watched Barbie or Oppenheimer, and I've not been and watched the new one. Is it Pretty Things? That looks great. I'm not up to date with stuff at the moment, I'm afraid. A film I always recommend is The Shining because the score in it, I used to watch it to go to sleep, because the music in it is just so soothing. Like, love it.
Yeah.
So, but it depends.
I,
Depends what you want from a
I
film.
I need to watch is it a sequel or a prequel? The Doctor Sleep.
Yeah, I
I
think that's more
need to
true
get
to the
around to that.
book. I think I can't remember if did I watch it. I think that's more true to the actual book and the way that Stephen King actually wanted The Shining to
Yeah.
be. I believe. I'm not sure if I'm thinking of something else, but yeah. But I'm glad that The Shining had done to it what it had done to it because I think it is what made it. And the cinematography, the scenes, everything, brilliant.
The Colin Farrell version of Total Recall is much closer to the book, but I don't care.
I've not seen it. Total Recall's
Schwarzeneggers
such a
will
great film.
always be better.
Yeah,
It's
Total Recall is a great film. If we're going old films, I would always say Rope, Rear Window. I've never, I don't know, To Kill a Mockingbird because it's one of the few films that I think I enjoy as much as the book. Fight Club's the same though, so that's like one that the book's so good and the film's so good and there's so many differences, but it's like I don't know which one's better for what reason. Probably the book just because it's got the edge, but it's close, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
but
Good
yeah.
call. Good call. So on the side from doing this, I've started doing a thing with two friends of mine, the Parker brothers, and we're currently like fan casting for huge, big budget live action Hollywood versions of
Wow.
old, old like Saturday morning or like tea time cartoons from the 80s or the early 90s.
Mm.
We did Thundercats the other week. A lot of not arguments, but a lot of differences of opinion. Some of the people we cast for that, and we're going to do Defenders of the Earth.
Oh.
Next, so that'll be fun. Okay, you did nodded away. You got a favourite old cat, and I might nick it and do it.
He-Man and She-Ra, of course.
Okay.
Looney Tunes. I actually downloaded. I found some of the old, so like all the old Looney Tunes, all the old Danger Mouse. I like watching those. Yeah, I like old cartoons as much as I like anything else. Old animes though, Afro Samurai, great one.
Oh,
Yeah, I like old cartoons as much as I like new
do you
and
know
old things.
do you know there are places where Danger Mouse is banned? The original, the old Danger
I
Mouse.
feel
It's
like I have heard that.
banned for being communist.
I feel like I have heard that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the bad guy is Baron Greenback. Greenback being slang for money, particularly in the US. So yeah, not a fan of David Jason and Danger Mouse because he's communist. Uh,
Come, come,
fighting the
great
guy,
danger.
fighting the capitalist scum who just wants to make money. He's not evil. He doesn't want to take over the world. He just wants to make money. Poor old DM.
Comrade Penfold.
Crikey! Um, Strange world we live in at times, I think.
That's brilliant. It's good though.
Yeah, yeah, so we'll probably be doing some of that. I don't know. I don't know if you could really make a big budget Danger Mouse movie,
I mean,
but hey, if you can make a Barbie movie, you can make fucking
you can
anything.
make a Danger Mouse movie for sure, I reckon. Old cartoons. I remember there was one called The Dreamstone that I always everyone thinks I made up.
No, I know that.
It's
I know
amazing.
that
That was
that
good
is
when I was
maybe a little bit niche for a lot of people. If
that.
anybody
Yeah,
does
because
know that,
there was
feel
like
free.
you have to really Google it. You have to really Google it. But Dreamstone was amazing. I loved that. And then the other stuff was more like TV. I liked Nightmare. Can you remember that where you
Oh
had to
God, so
like
good.
so
That's not,
good. I always wanted to be on it. I really wanted to be on it. It
yeah,
was good.
because every week, because the kids who were on it were so fucking stupid. Every
You know,
every week you knew you could just scream at the TV. What are you doing?
I used to go to the
Only the
library.
riddles that are so obvious.
We used to in Mansfield Town Centre where I lived at some points when I was a kid. There was a in the library you could go and play on Encarta. So I used to sometimes wag school and go to the library. Yeah, and I'm badass
Rock
and
and
go
roll.
to middle school because it was middle school in Mansfield, so you had 5, 6, 7, and 8, year 5 to 8, and I was like it was a young age to be sort of in a like a higher school, and anyway, so I went down and would be in the library all day reading, and the librarian would let me go on Encarta, and that was like being on Nightmare. So you'd be like going through all these rooms and answering all these questions and quizzes. Oh God, I used to love it. Just love getting answers right to stuff. It was so good.
Yeah, I've got to start finding better questions for people that they can actually answer. But I do.
I'm dreadful about choosing between stuff, but I haven't done bad today. I'm not good at choosing between stuff, but I chose a couple of things. So
Yeah, it's and the important things. So, so do you dabble with any video
yeah,
games at all?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just recently finished. Well, I say I've finished Outer Worlds. I'm starting it again from a different version.
Okay.
I like a bit of Red Dead. I'm not an online player. I don't like playing in battle royales. I don't like fast paced stuff. I like a
No,
chill game. I like Red Dead.
I'm too old. My reaction times are shot. There was a time,
I like God of
maybe there was a
War.
time, but not now.
Yeah, I like God of War and stuff like that where you're working through it. And I like a couple of platform games, but Tekken got too like way out for me. Like you had to hold your pad upside down at one point, so it was like I can't do that. But I do prefer sort of a piece like sitting and playing a PC game and a very chill sort of like I say in Red Dead you can be going through different sort of missions. You can do stuff all off on your own, or you can go and find a vampire, or if you need to chill or do something for 5 minutes or prepare yourself a coffee or
Yeah.
whatever, you can put cinematic on, and while you're riding from one place to another you can just watch the horse go.
Yeah, yeah. I've always been partial to an RPG anyway,
Mm.
but yeah, certainly getting older with terrible reaction times. I play games just like an interactive movie. I play
Yes,
games for the story. I want to know
yes,
what happens next, and I get
it,
really immersed and
it
really
is
interested.
like a movie. That is exactly
The
that's the kind of game
way
you're playing. It's like
the way
watching a
some of
film.
the big games are written now, and they're getting big, like
Yeah.
big blockbuster movie directors are coming into gaming and lending a hand, and it's
Yeah, the way that they look now, and it's like, can you remember like game books, and it's like that. So you can make a choice on being a bad guy or a good
yeah,
guy. And that's it. Like that's cool. And the things that you do really can make 3 or 4 different outcomes, and then your friend can have had a different. That's I like that.
yeah,
That's
that's
the
great.
technology, though, isn't it? So it's good.
Yeah, it's because then that's the one place because we can all be a dick. We all choose the evil, bad options. Of course we do, because we don't want to do that in real life.
I don't know. I
So in the
don't know.
video game,
I
it's like,
always
yes, kill the
fail by being
kids.
a good guy. I always I'll start out, so I'll first do it and I'll try and I'm always wanting to be good. I'm like, no, like in Outer Worlds, you've got to choose between sort of shutting this one place down or shutting another place down. And you're like, well, no, because they're the good guys. They're out. And it actually turns out that was the wrong choice. And well, it didn't fail the game for me, but I could have got something else better later on
Yeah.
down the so then I've got it back into it, and I'm trying to be a bad guy, and honestly, I don't like it.
Yeah, I always try.
I don't like it. I'll shoot somebody. I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I always try to play these games, and I always try to be me. I always try to pick the answer that I try and be me. Because there's usually like there'll be the multiple choice options in the dialogue, and there'll be the obvious like good guy save the world choice. There's the obvious bad guy destroy everything choice, and then there's something a bit more ambiguous or whatever. And I try to pick my answers, which means I'd flip drastically through a playthrough between like good guy and bad guy. So if there is like the evil ending and the good guy ending, I often don't see it because I've picked too many of each.
You end up in the middle.
As it goes on, because in this context, this guy, like I know that's the right answer,
Yeah.
but I don't like him.
Yeah.
You know. For
Do
the greater
you know
good,
what? There's
I
got
know I
to be.
should do that, but no.
I do it with the character as well, though. I make the character I make the character look like me as much as possible. Even when I played Dragon Ball Z, like I made my Super Saiyan like a Super Saiyan version of me, and I don't know if that's like some massive narcissist level or it's because I want to be immersed in the game. I
No,
want it to be.
I just want. I'd settle for. I just want anime hair. I just want gravity defying, like Wayne Static kind of ridiculous. I want this to go that way.
I bet you could do that with a lot of hairspray.
Like yeah, like but in a really low maintenance way, like it just does. Yeah, like if I could just get up in the morning and say Kamehameha and it goes,
That would be very.
sorted, without the risk of setting anything on fire or.
The thing is, if Goku was your mate, he'd give you his hair. So.
Oh, such fun. Who knew? This is Katrina Tia Charles, singer-songwriter. New single War is out now. So,
I was trying to do a
listen
W
to
one.
many genres you like to play, and not really be tied down to a genre. You want to just make music, and it goes where it goes. Yeah,
I expect
I
that.
tried doing that. I got told off for that.
Yeah, I do.
I got someone again will remain nameless, but someone very heavily involved in the record industry was sniffing around an old band of mine, a particular lineup, and we did kind of get that, the kind of romantic, like guy in a suit kind of taps you on the shoulder after the gig with the like, "Hey kid, I'm going to make you a star," which doesn't happen, and it didn't happen, but I did kind of get the shoulder tap and the like business card of you don't know who I am, but you know who I am if Google me kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But what I thought was really good about the band, how we had all this set where we had a fast one, a slow one, and a heavy one, and a light one, and I thought that was good. I thought that was a selling point. This guy was right. I've heard a lot of different types of music up there tonight. I'm like, yeah, good, isn't it? And he goes, "You're way better at one than some of the others. I'm going to go away, see if you can work out which one. Come back and see you in a few months' time and see if you've worked it out, because that I can sell.
Oh, that's really obnoxious.
Yeah,
I would rather not.
but
I'd rather not sell, but thanks for
yeah,
offering.
like so he leaves, and the other guys in the band are all musing over. Oh, I bet it's this one. I bet it's that one. Like quite excited, and I'm like, never gonna fucking happen.
Yeah, if you'd have
Like,
just, if you
not
know,
on my
if
watch.
he'd have just told you, that would have been less rude. If it had been like, I think this is your strongest point,
Yeah,
it'd have been less obnoxious. But yeah, having you guessing was the bit that I was like, oh no. I think I'm not against genre because it works. I get it. And some people, it makes sense for them to be in that particular genre and they smash it. For me, trying to choose a genre would be stupid because I don't know what I like.
yeah,
Even I have been
terrible.
advised by people who know what they're doing and they're doing, very successful work in music in a way that I know that they are the right they are in the right place to give me advice. And they have said to me, you need to choose what kind of music, like what kind of music you want to do. You need to choose what kind of artist you want to be. And I don't think that I need to, because I'm not trying to be massive. I'm not trying to do anything remarkably sort of world tour defying. I just want people to like my songs, and if they do, then that's great. And I want them to sing and dance to them barefoot in the kitchen on a Sunday if they don't know me. So that does require some sort of success, but I don't want to be like, I don't want my music to just be liked. I want it to be liked if they like it. And
Yeah,
that's it. So getting numbers is great. It's lovely. But if those numbers were because I had changed it to get them, I won't feel as good about that extra person listening to my song.
yeah.
I don't think.
One of the better pieces of advice I probably ever got in my past life was somebody reminded me that like fans are great and getting fans are great these days. Whatever social like likes, shares, what all that. But when you started, you had no fans
Mm.
and you loved it. You enjoyed it. You were making the music, making art. It applies to every medium. You were making it because you wanted to, because you needed to, you had to. It's therapy for the soul.
It is, and
And
getting the
and
people
it's got
get
absolutely,
response is great as well.
again, it's kind of, it's a selfish thing that you made the art.
Mm.
Then there's an added bonus when you get response, even if that's negative. To be honest, personally, I didn't mind at all getting some negative response. That's great, but that's not a reason to continue to do it, because otherwise you get a better response for song A than you did for song B. So if it gets in your head, I need to write another song like song A,
Yeah.
your songs are going to start to suck. And
No.
actually, even the people who like song A will start to go off you.
Yeah.
Probably when they realize all your songs sound the same, no matter
I've
how much they like song A.
I've
So
had
it's
that before where I've written a song and I've got a very toxic trait of writing a song and then going live on Facebook and being, guys, I've written a song, right? And I've done that loads of times since I started doing music. I've been doing it live in front of people because I wanted to learn, and I was told, actually, Katrina, the internet's quite a horrible place. Don't do it on the internet until you like ready. And I was like, oh, okay. So people tell me what to do better. And actually, everyone was just really nice, to be honest. But what was I on about?
this is the pros and cons of actually having fans and kind of pandering
Yeah.
to what you think
So
people might like.
I always go live anyway when I first do a song, and so everything that I've done has always had like either maybe 2 people listen to it, or 22 people listen to it, or 222 people listen to it, or sometimes more. But sometimes the one that has had the least listens is the one I'm the most proud of, because I really like that, like
Yeah.
what that feels like to be able to sing that song, because saying something's great, playing something's great, singing it says it for me better. Like it gets it out of me better, and it's a really good way of venting and a really good way of it's playing a song and singing those songs after I've written them really does make me feel great, and that's why I do it. I enjoy doing it. Yeah, when I'm doing it on my own here, as much as when I'm doing it in front of other people, I enjoy it. But when other people smile back, or they like the song, or they come back and talk to you about the song that you've written, that's unbelievable. That like is really unbelievable. And I think that if I were changing stuff too much in order to get more of that, rather than it being because I wanted that song to be how it was, I think I'd lose a little bit of that. Only, I don't think you'd lose it because you still made the thing. But it's for me, it's just it's got to be an arc thing, because I'm like, well, I want them to like the thing I did. I like it. Can I just write it? But you know, that's I just really enjoy writing songs. So for me, the idea of other people interpreting them in their way, then that's what the scope is. So I'll do a song, and you know, it was in the studio when we were sort of at one point they were like, why don't you try and do it like this? I'm like, why don't you just get a better singer to cover it after I've done it? And then I did it the better way, and they were right. But I really one of when I when my album's launched, one of the showcases that I'm going to do is more of a songwriter showcase. So I'm getting 8 different artists that I know to cover the songs on my album in their own interpretation, because that's a lot of why I'm doing what I'm doing. I want to see what the people do it like, but I want mine to be established first because they're mine.
Yeah. Yeah. So what? So one of these 8 people, a gangster rapper, yeah?
Possibly. We'll see.
Yeah.
I do write bars, I just don't spit them.
How do you just do that one yourself? I mean, to be honest, no, because you know, KTC, yeah. How hip hop is that? It's like you'd be like the Razor, you know.
Basically.
That'd be so cool.
K2 Cool C.
I can see that.
KK Cool C.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would go. I mean, yeah. Run KTC. Oh, maybe that's a bit too close to something else.
Or a warning. On that note, I better actually run.
Yes, no problem. Hey, whose house? Well, thank you very much for this. It's been a pleasure.
Been great. Thank you very much.
Not as much as it has been for everybody who's watching, who is now free to go like all the socials for Katrina, Tia, Charles, like, follow, share. New song War is everywhere. You'll find it wherever you get music. And this will be available in Reels here, Facebook. It'll be on YouTube later. You're going to have to wait for that because all the cool kids come here. So if you're here, you're one of the cool kids. So thanks for that. Thanks for everybody. And this has been great. Hopefully we'll do it again, or hopefully I'll be able to make a show at some point. That'd be great.
I'll get the band along.
Oh God. Just trying to get 2 people instead of just the one has been a fucking nightmare. But it's great. I'm going to try and do Alien Abduction Club all at the same time. That'll be fun. I can already see that's going to go swimmingly.
That's going to be amazing. I can't wait for that. I might go.
But right, so I'm going to let you go then.
I'm going to go and see those guys now. So,
bye for now.
It's been wonderful.
Oh, I'm glad you've enjoyed it. Tell your friends.
Tell everyone. I'll tell my friends. Everyone, tell your friends to buy my song. Bye.
Yeah, buy the song. That's.
Whoa.
I'm going to say one last time. That was Katrina, Tia Charles, new single War, out now wherever you get your music. If you're sick of hearing it, I don't care. Stop listening to me and go listen to the song War by Katrina, Tia Charles. It's a bit brilliant. It's a little bit rock, it's a little bit blues, it's modern, but it's somewhat traditional. Fantastic vocals. It's great. I'd love to. It's one of those songs you hear and you just know it's going to be even better live. You can tell it's got that vibe. Should definitely hear it live. I'm hoping to do so. So that was this week. I'm back again next week. A little bit bit different. A lot of video game talk next week with YouTuber Stanford Plays. That's going to be very interesting because we've not had that before. We've had a bunch of different types of artists. That's going to be pretty cool. We've touched on a little bit of video gaming today. We're going to touch on it a lot, to the point that it should probably almost be illegal to touch something in that way that much and enjoy it. But that's just the way we roll here. So thanks everybody for tuning in. And until next time, kids, as the sun sets slowly in the west, I bid you a fond farewell.